Okay, engineer. So, our first question.
Mhm.
What is your defining moment nung naramdaman mo na you want your own company?
Okay. Um, well, ano kasi, I'm 1/4 Chinese, then 1/4 Indian.
Mm.
So I guess simula pagkabata pa lang, um, it's in me na to start a business.
Hmm.
Kasi, cultural background
Yeah,
nung
oo.
nung dalawang 'yan. And then my grandfather kasi meron siyang business. So isa sila sa nag-pioneer sa Divisoria.
Mm, mm.
So back in like after World War II. And then, my dad, meron din siyang business. And then, at an early age kasi, like mga around grade 3. Uh, so, during summer break, pinapabantay niya ako sa office.
Mm.
Pinapamanage niya ako. So, you know, since pagkabata, uh, parang yun na yung gusto ko talagang gawin.
Meron ka namang experience, right? Parang
Mm.
naging employee and parang at that point ba, ano yung nagpaano pa rin sa'yo, hindi ka nag-stop dun sa want
Right.
mo magkaroon ng own business, ganito, ganyan?
Okay. Well, nag-start kasi ako as an employee.
Mm.
So I worked at a company
Hmm.
for a year and a half. And then siguro on the side, try ko kumuha ng projects. And then parang it came to a point kasi na mas nakakapag mas nagfo-focus na lang ako dun sa projects ko kaysa sa pumasok sa work. So
Hmm.
parang inisip ko no'n, I was fresh grad, working pa lang for a year and a half.
Oo.
Isip ko if try ko siya gawing full-time, wala namang mawawala sa'kin, eh. So if, say after a year biglang wala na akong makuhang
Yeah.
projects, I can just find another job, ganyan. So, tinry ko lang siya and then parang nagtuloy-tuloy, eh. So, I started 2018 and then tinry ko siya on my own, wala
Mm.
akong kahit anong, employees up until pre-pandemic.
Mm.
And then when pandemic hit, hindi ko alam, eh, parang biglang dumami ang mga nagpagawa ng houses. Kasi stuck sila sa condo, tapos na-realize nila na parang mas okay if meron kaming garden, may backyard kami, mas
Hmm.
malaki space. So, for the same price, meron ka ng sariling house. So, medyo nag-boom and then yung ka-work ko before na CAD operator, so I went to him, kinausap ko siya, "Gusto mo ng work?" So, I hired him and then I hired one more engineer and then nagtuloy-tuloy pa rin siya, naging linear naman yung growth namin. So, now ano na kami, 9 na kami sa office.
Hmm.
So 5 engineers, 1 CAD, and then admins, ayan.
Meron ka ba kasi siyempre, like, it's a different mag-form ng team, eh.
Hmm,
Meron ka bang nung nagsa-start ka, what
okey.
kind of team you want to create
Ah,
para maging okay or successful? Kasi siyempre yun yung
right,
goal, eh, to have a successful company.
yeah. I think naman in any company 'no, ang important kasi is yung culture,
Mm.
and then yung kung paano mag-bond
Mhm.
yung employees mo or yung group mo. I think kasi if comfortable sila sa environment ng company, they can work properly, they can work well,
Mhm.
mas comfortable sila to explore,
Mhm.
to learn new things. So before, kasi from UST ako,
Mm.
so nung first few hires ko, I tried to exclusively hire from UST. And then hindi ko alam, eh, parang biglang wala na nag-a-apply from UST. So I tried to hire from
Mm.
other colleges. So ang naging ano ko na lang, ang naging basis ko na lang for hiring is kung paano ang attitude nila. Okay, so it doesn't matter kung nung ini-interview ko sila kung marami na silang alam or wala.
Mm.
As long as nafi-feel ko from them na willing sila to learn and yung attitude nila magbe-blend well with kung ano yung culture na tina-try kong i-build sa company, I get them na lang,
Hmm.
gano'n. So, more than anything, ang pinaki-ingatan ko talaga sa work namin is yung culture.
So, engineer, how's your
Mm,
bond with your team? Kasi siyempre different kasi yung bond mo as an engineer. So, you transition, as an engineer to becoming a CEO.
Mm.
So different, ikaw na yung nagli-lead.
Correct.
So how's your bond with them?
Well, I think kasi important yung fact na nanggaling ako sa isang company din. So alam ko kung ano yung hinahanap ng isang employee, no? And especially sa business natin, sa field natin, medyo stressful kasi. Very fast-paced na ngayon. Unlike before, for example, kung meron kang papagawa na house, structural plans ng house, for example, minsan kaya pa yan gawin in like a month. Yeah. Pero kasi now, ang expectations from us with, yung advancement ng softwares and everything like that, mabilis na talaga eh. So, ang bilis ng turnaround. For me lang kasi, alam ko na ganun naka-stressful ang environment ng work. So, I try to minimize yung any other external stressors natin, no? So, I always tell my employees na if you have problems, if nahihirapan na kayo, kung pagod na kayo, just go to me, open up, and then gagawa natin ng paraan, no? So for me lang, gusto ko lang na, yeah, may output ako na-expect from them, but tinatry ko din alagaan yung mental health nila. Especially now na with Facebook and everything, ang bilis mag-compare with other people
Yes.
no? So yun, I just try to keep like to be open lang with them, no? And transparent. And sabi ko rin kasi sa kanila, if napapagod ka na, I'd rather you take a break than i-sacrifice mo yung quality ng work mo.
Yes.
Na ituloy-tuloy mo. And, after some time, babalik yan kasi natayo na, biglang may problem pala. No? So yun lang ang ano ko sa kanila. I try to be like a big brother to them.
But it's really nice kasi parang it's not just about the work eh. It's also about caring
Right.
sa mga tao mo eh.
Yes.
And I think nakikita na kasi we've been partners like since it's been 2 years, no? 3 years. Parang most of our projects,
Yeah.
ikaw talaga yung ano namin sa structural.
Right.
And nakikita namin na parang wala eh, very consistent eh. So
Really?
ngayon nalaman
Nice.
na namin kung anong
Yeah.
reason.
Nice, nice.
Let's go engineer dun sa scope of works ng isang structural engineer.
Okay. All right. Structural engineer kasi, structural engineering, ano yan eh, branch yan ng civil engineering. When we say civil engineering kasi normally, ang iniisip ng mga tao, ano yan, sa construction, tatayo ng bahay, ganyan. Pero it's more than that eh. Civil engineering, so meron yang kasing geotechnical engineering, no? So sila yung nag-explore ng subsurface condition ng soil. And then there's transportation engineering, so highways, ganyan. And then there's us, structural engineers. There's so many more branches. So yung kami, structural engineers, we mainly focus on anything with columns and beams, foundations, ganyan. Sa amin, sa company namin, we focus on houses, commercial buildings, condominiums, so anything vertical. No? Ang hindi lang namin kayang gawin is roads and bridges, which I think kasi personally, I think it lands on nasa transportation engineering na. So technically meron pa din siyang structural kasi design ng columns, beams, ganyan. Pero hindi lang namin siya expertise, so as much as possible hindi namin siya tinatackle. So yun, structural engineering for us sa company namin, so houses, buildings, warehouses, mga ganyan. Anything na with columns and beams.
Inas ko lang kasi yun, engineer, kasi maraming misconceptions eh dun sa
Right.
structural engineer eh. So ano yung mga usual misconceptions dun sa work mo?
Okay. Medyo vague kasi. Like sa amin, sa structural engineers, wala kaming PRC license na specifically nagsistate na structural engineer kami. Although we have an association,
Mhm.
which is yung ASEP,
Mhm.
Association of Structural Engineers of the Philippines. Uh, so, sa kanila, meron silang criteria para maging member ka ng ASEP. And I think sa Philippines, that's the closest we could get to
Mhm.
being a structural engineer. Other than, syempre, mag-masters ka. Unlike kasi, for example, sa electrical engineers, electronics engineers, mechanical, once you pass the boards kasi, registered ka pa lang.
Mhm.
And then to become a professional, kailangan mo mag-render ng few years pa ng work, and then may exam pa siya para maging professional ka. Unlike for us, no, right off the bat, pag nakapasa ka ng boards, pwede na kami mag-design ng structures, houses, ganyan. Pwede na rin kami mag-sign and seal.
Mm.
So, I guess ang difference lang ng structural engineer is yun nga, member kami ng magiging member ka ng ASEP, or meron kang master's degree,
Mhm.
ganyan. Pero technically, walang talagang, walang defined na parang boundary between a civil engineer and a structural engineer in the Philippines for now.
For now.
For now, wala pa.
Let's talk about naman the collaborations.
Mm-mm.
Siyempre, nagko-collaborate ka with different professionals.
Alright.
So, as an architect, siyempre, may curiosity ako eh.
Mm-mm.
Kasi, siyempre, nag-partner na tayo sa mga projects and you never say no to us. Pero
Okay.
may mga parang adjustments still.
Right.
But very open ka sa mga ideas namin. Even it's a bold vision or so. Pero, what if may ganun? Siyempre, there are mga like organic forms. May
Correct.
mga ganong experience or na-encounter kong projects.
Well, I have to admit din kasi talaga, parang lately, sobrang daming medyo bold visions from architects.
Mm-mm.
And I think kasi it's because of sobrang advanced na ng softwares
Yes.
natin.
Mm-mm.
So, sobrang dali na mag-visualize, dali na mag-edit, ganyan. So, syempre, as the architectural softwares advance, nag-a-advance din yung structural engineering softwares natin. No? I think one of the reasons why hindi natin siya nakikita before, although meron, like for example, yung CCP,
Yeah.
di ba may mahabang cantilevers
Mhm,
yun. Kaya naman kasi siya talaga technically. It's just that before, everything was done manually.
Manually.
Yeah. So, napakahirap ng calculations nun. Unlike now, meron na tayong softwares na i-model mo lang kung ano yung gusto mangyari ng architect. And then as long as it meets code standards, no, mas madali na siyang mag-compute. Mas binibigay na niya sa amin, for example, yung required moment, required shear na kailangan dalhin ng isang beam or a girder. And then from there, kaya na namin siyang ma-calculate manually. So malaking part ng yung hindrance before ng manual calcs, na yun, parang na-eliminate na yun now dahil sa advancement ng softwares natin. So, yung mga cantilevers now na sobrang haba, mga planted columns natin na, we call them transfer girders, na may binubuhat na super daming floors, mas madali na siya i-compute now. Well, of course, meron din ng mga times na talagang medyo crazy na yung gusto mangyari. That's the time we talk with the architects, baka pwede mag-meet somewhere in the middle or mag-compromise with the designs, ganyan. So, hindi pa rin naman nawawala yun, in collaboration between engineers and architects. Pero for us kasi, as much as possible, para happy yung architect and of course, happy yung clients, no? Kung ano gusto nila, tinatry namin best namin to deliver. Ganyan.
Kunyari na lang architect kasi syempre, may mga, yung first part kasi, di ba, sa designing is the site.
Alright.
Syempre, may mga clients tayo na merong cliffside, mga residential.
Yeah.
And I think may mga audience tayo, may mga viewers tayo na dream nila yon, nasa cliffside, mountain view, beach view na sobrang layo, and ganyan. Paano mo mape-prepare yung client dun sa mga possible headaches kasi syempre ang
Okay.
dami 'di ba? Kasi
Yeah.
uneven terrain,
Yeah.
talagang and how do you approach that kind of situation?
I think ang pinaka-important kasi dito is to manage the client's
Mhm.
expectations, no? Actually, in structural engineering kasi, majority ng problems possible 'yan basta
Mhm.
may budget,
Mhm. Hmm.
okay? Um, so early on pa lang sa development ng projects, especially if very sloping yung terrain,
Mhm.
normally diyan ang retaining walls mo halos yung cut and fill, retaining walls, soil
Mhm.
protection and everything, halos same price na yan ng house, eh.
Mhm.
So, sa umpisa pa lang ng project, we make sure na na-aware si client sa gano'n, 'no? And then from there, hanap na lang tayo ng puwedeng middle ground kung ano yung papasok sa requirements si clients
Mhm.
and kung ano yung siyempre maganda pa din.
Aside sa architects siyempre,
Mm.
nagko-collaborate ka din, same field,
Okay.
engineers.
Mm.
So, paano yun? How do you deal with that?
Um, Honestly kasi sa mga houses, 'no, sa mga two-story,
Mhm.
three-story, very rare na, eh. Kasi most of the time hindi naman gano'n ka-complex yung systems na
Mhm.
ginagamit,
Mhm.
'no. Unlike sa mga, commercial buildings or mga high-rise na meron tayong mechanical, electrical,
Mhm.
electronics, fire protection. So, ang dami ng disciplines na involved. So, pagka gano'n, talagang constant communication kami with the engineers and the
Mhm.
architects. At the same time, meron kasi tayong tinatawag na BIM,
Mhm.
'no, so parang Revit,
Yes,
gano'n.
yeah.
Dun pa lang kasi makikita na yung tinatawag natin na clashes. So, if may conflict with the architectural, structural, and then the
And
MEPF, dun pa lang na-iron out na. So, yeah, hindi siya completely nawawala, 'no? Especially actually kahit sa mga houses nung sinabi ko na hindi na sila masyado nag-uusap, dapat kailangan talaga mag-usap. It's just that, sometimes sa sobrang bilis ng project, yung pacing ng
wait,
project,
mhm.
minsan tinatakal na lang siya during construction, yeah. But if meron tayong mga projects na malalaki, na marami namang time and, talagang gusto nating i-detail, kaya naman.
Hmm.
So, basta dapat nagko-coordinate lang with the engineers and architects, of course.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Nasabi mo kanina sa construction, 'di ba? So,
Mm,
how about yung mga contractors? Kasi siyempre I
right.
know na parang doon yung madaming 'pag nagko-consult na
Yes.
sa'yo, eh, 'di
Oo,
ba? So,
yeah.
paano yung conversation niyo?
Ah, it depends kasi, um, sa'min kasi naniniwala kami na walang 100% perfect na
Mhm.
plan.
Mhm.
Laging may missing na details diyan, laging magkakaroon ng discrepancies on site.
Mhm.
Pagka gano'n kasi wala na kaming choice, eh. If may problems na nag-arise on site,
Mhm.
well, engineers kasi, even architects,
Mhm.
'di ba, ano naman yan, problem solvers naman yan.
Yes.
So, in a way, nag-e-enjoy din ako sa gano'n kasi na kumbaga nafo-force kami to think outside of the box. So, yeah, hindi siya maiwasan pagka may issues with sa site, with
Mhm.
the contractors. Of course, nandito lang naman kami to, do something about it, to
Mhm.
fix the problems, ganyan.
Meron ka bang parang example nung parang biglang tumawag sa'yo, "Engineer,
Okay.
may problem kasi sa bahay
Mm.
ko, eh." Pero
Alright.
kasi 'di ba siyempre you already, submitted yung plans.
Mhm.
Siyempre lahat
Yeah.
calculated and so pero
Right.
siyempre sa construction minsan
Mm.
nagkakaroon ng miscalculation and so ng mga
Tama.
materials. Ano yung
Mm.
parang talagang napaisip ka na
Well, ang pinakamadalas na nangyayari diyan 'no, is hindi nasusunod yung specs ng materials namin.
mhm,
So, for example, yung compressive strength ng concrete,
mhm,
um, so I had this project once, hindi ko na ni-name.
hmm,
So meron kaming, column na dapat at a specified
mhm,
compressive strength, pero mali yung na-order nila. So, what we did was nag-conduct kami ng super daming testings. So, tinest namin madami kasi nabuhusan, eh,
mhm.
not just one member, eh. So from there, nag-conduct kami ng rebound hammer, tapos, meron kami yung, tinatawag na ultrasonic test.
Mhm.
So, tine-test yun yung mga for honeycombs and everything.
Yes.
And then from there, mag-run kami ng calcs based dun sa kung ano yung actual na naging result. And then, yun, so either retrofit kami or add kami ng columns para mabawasan yung load ng isang column. Or worst case is magre-replan si architect kasi yung mga planted columns na dapat kayang kargahin ng column na say 4,000 PSI, ang nagawa is 3,000 lang, tapos bumabagsak na sa analysis. So, para hindi na mag-retrofit, para hindi na tayo mag-carbon fiber or whatever,
Replan na lang.
nagre-replan na lang si architect. So, yun lang. May mga ganun kaming instances.
Engineer, how will you ensure yung client na yung building or yung bahay nila is safe?
Okay. So, syempre alam naman natin lahat ngayon, no? Ang pinaghahandaan is yung the big one.
Yes.
No? So, bakit ba natin siya pinaghahandaan ngayon? Yung West Valley Fault kasi, meron yung return period now, if I'm not mistaken, 400 years. So, meaning, every 400 years, nag-expect tayo na gagalaw siya. Okay? And right now, kung hindi pa tayo nasa 400-year mark, alam ko may less than 50 years left na lang. So, parang lumalabas, in 400 years, di pa siya gumagalaw. So, ina-expect na natin siya at anytime soon.
Yes.
Yung West Valley Fault kasi, based sa study, ang maximum na kaya niyang i-produce na magnitude is 7.2. Okay. When we say magnitude kasi, yun yung force ng earthquake, diba? Yeah. And the intensity is yung, like, it depends kasi gano'ng kakalayo eh. So, I think yun ang isa sa misconceptions. Normally, mga tao, anong intensity ba kaya niya? Anong intensity? Pero ang tamang term kasi is magnitude. Yeah. Okay. And then sa code kasi, specifically, naka-state na for majority ng fault lines sa Philippines, seismic source type A, ang tawag namin doon. So, ang range ng magnitude na kino-consider namin doon is from magnitude 7 to 8.4. Okay. So, in reality kasi, yung West Valley Fault, ang kaya lang niya ay 7.2. No? Pero ang tinatry namin i-anticipate is hanggang 8.4. So, technically, as long as masunod yung code, masunod yung plans namin during construction, it should withstand the earthquake na kayang i-produce ng the big one. Okay. But hindi kasi siya necessarily na pag nag-earthquake, the big one is talaga 100% livable pa yung structure mo. Ang kaya lang namin i-guarantee is during the earthquake, hindi siya babagsak. Okay? So, paano natin malalaman din if babagsak na siya or hindi? Okay? So, yung code kasi natin, nire-require niya yung structures natin to have a ductile behavior once na may pumalong earthquake or typhoons. So, meaning, dapat nagfa-flex yan. Hindi siya very rigid. No? Kasi pagka ganon, may detailings kami for that eh. So, hindi pwedeng sobrang dami ng concrete namin. So, dapat meron kaming just the right amount of steel para hindi siya masyadong maging puro concrete lang na sobrang brittle.
Yeah.
So, pag nag-ductile failure kasi, magka-crack pa yung mga beams mo eh. So, pag nag-earthquake, makikita mo may cracks yan. Pero hindi mo siya babagsak. It just means na nag-show na siya ng signs of failure. Pwede ka pa lumabas, pwede ka pa tumakbo. So, yun, at the very least, ang promise ng code is during earthquake, hindi yan babagsak.
Okay.
So, after that, and then dun na kami papasok to assess kung ano yung naging damage. And then, from there, i-repair na lang natin siya.
Siyempre, yung mga listeners natin, they don't have enough knowledge kasi doon sa mga, you know, like what you said earlier, yung mga cracks.
Right.
So, that's actually one sign na hindi safe yung building. Pero, syempre, there are different cracks eh. So, then, yung cracks na yon may pwedeng sa wall, sa slab. So, paano nila malalaman na those cracks hindi na safe?
Siguro first, try natin muna i-differentiate kung ano yung structural cracks and ano din yung mga superficial cracks natin. When we say superficial cracks kasi, ito yung mga cracks like yung sa mga palitada lang, no? Or like sa walls. When we design kasi structures, hindi natin pinapakarga ng any load dapat ang partition walls natin. No? So basically, nakapatong sila sa structure, and then ang effect lang niya talaga dun sa mismong structural frame natin is yung weight niya. Okay? And most of the time kasi, lahat ng cracks na lalabas sa wall, unless of course if meron tayong tinatawag na shear wall, so ano yun, buhos talaga yun, and it's part of the main structural system natin. Pero yung mga hollow blocks, mga ganyan, hindi siya talaga parte. So when it cracks, hindi siya immediate sign of failure. No? Although it could lead to possible failure sa structural system natin, kasi we have to understand bakit nagka-crack yung wall. Okay? Hindi kasi siya dapat talaga nagka-crack if, hindi naman masyadong excessive yung movement ng walls mo or nung frame mo, ganyan. So, so for example, yung walls na yun, possible kasi na ang nagiging cause nun is, like what I said, yung pag-sway ng structure. So, if hindi natin nalilimit yung sway niya, we call that drift ng structure. So, if sobrang laki ng pag-sway pag nag-earthquake or humangin, so, for sure, magka-crack yung walls natin kasi hindi naman sila talaga designed to withstand yung pag-sway ng structure. No? And then, pangalawa, pwede kasi, this is very common na once matapos yung structure, turnover na, for example, ni contractor, in a span of a year, madaming madaming maglalabasan dyan na cracks. We call that settlement cracks. No? So, we anticipate kasi na for the first year ng life ng building, yung soil na pinapatungan niya, nagsisettle pa yan. It's not necessarily bad as long as meron tayong soil test and naka-specify dun sa soil test kung ano yung allowable settlement lang natin. No? So, as long as hindi naman siya lumalagpas doon, okay lang yung mga cracks na nakikita natin sa walls. So, most of the time, yan yung under warranty pa. And then, pagka sinabi mo sa contractor na, may nagka-crack na walls, ang sasabihin nila sa'yo is just wait muna for like a year, and then tsaka namin babalikan, i-repair namin lahat ng cracks. Yun, tawag doon superficial cracks kasi it's not detrimental to the safety of the structure.
Okay.
And then, we have naman talaga yung talagang structural cracks na. So, flexure, shear, spalling. No? When we say flexure kasi meaning, so kung yung beam, nagbe-bend siya sa gitna, and then hindi enough yung strength nung beam, so for example, yung size, yung reinforcement niya, magka-crack yan sa gitna. Okay? So, most of the time, pagka may nagpa-present na cracks doon, medyo may hindi maganda sa halo, kulang yung reinforcement, kulang yung size for the span or for the weight that it's carrying. So that's one. And then pangalawa, may shear cracks tayo sa girders or beams natin.
Yes.
So ito naman, cracks yan of naka-angle usually 45 degrees from sa kilikili. Okay. So meaning hindi adequate yung shear reinforcement natin sa girder, o kaya hindi adequate yung size, hindi adequate yung compressive strength, no? So that's one example of structural failures then. No? And then spalling. Spalling very important. Usually lumalabas to sa mga old buildings. So if a crack is running parallel to the member, so ibig sabihin yung reinforcement niya, yung rebars niya, nagko-corrode na inside. No? So yan yung kung nakita ka mga 30-year-old na structures, kita mo, bibitak na yung concrete. So yun. So those are the cracks that we have to look out for. No? And then for the walls naman, sabi ko kanina na superficial cracks na siya. Pero minsan kasi if yung walls pabalik-balik nagka-crack or minsan lumalaki, it could also lead to some issues with the structural itself. So for example, if yung columns natin on one side walang tie beam, and then nagsisettle na siya, tapos hindi sumusunod yung other, mapapansin mo yung wall mo, lumalaki yung cracks, yung mga ganun. So there are clues. Yan. Pero most of the time, if nagka-cracks, nakikita yung cracks sa houses are just walls, especially sa mga openings like windows, doors. That's ano lang naman.
Superficial
lang siya. Yeah. Hindi siya ganun ka.
Pero ano yung usual na solution nyo doon? Kasi syempre, once na chinek nyo na siya,
right.
So, pag nakikita yung superficial, how do you patch that problem?
So first, we try to identify bakit siya nagka-crack. No? So sometimes, pagka may crack, sabihin natin, observe mo na for like a month or two if lumalaki. If lumalaki, possible yung foundation.
Yes.
Pero if hindi naman na siya nagpa-progress, and then tatanong namin, gano'n ka luma na yung structure. And then, meron bang recent earthquakes na nangyari? Kasi, minsan kahit okay naman yung structure mo, properly designed, syempre may sway pa din yan pag na-earthquake. Magkakaroon pa rin siya talaga ng cracks sa mga partition walls natin. So, once we identify kung ano yung naging cause, if hindi naman siya structural failure, we just repair na lang. So, mabilis naman i-repair yun. Anyone can do that. Pero if structural ang cause niya, so, doon na medyo mabigat. We have to tell the client na ito yung reason kung bakit nagka-crack yung walls mo. We have to fix this or else baka kung mag-earthquake, may mangyaring masama, ganun. Yun. So from there, we do the necessary tests to properly fix kung ano yung nagiging cause ng cracks.
What if parang talaga yung cracking, structural cracks na yun, parang may ano ba na hindi na talaga siya ma-fix?
Well, everything is fixable naman. As long as you have the budget.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Tsaka kung, it depends kasi kung ano bang reason kung bakit ayaw mo pang i-demolish yung house and just build a new one. Normally, nakikita namin yan sa mga, like for example, may old house na pinatayo ng grandparents nila na may sentimental value, ayaw nilang i-demolish. So, yun, nire-retrofit na lang namin.
Okay.
But again, retrofitting kasi, for one, when we say retrofitting, inaayos natin eh. Diba? And I guess for everything else naman, mas okay na yung sa umpisa pa lang, okay na siya. Kesa yung nasira, aayusin mo pa.
Yeah.
Diba? And then, mas mahal ang retrofitting sometimes compared to demolish mo na lang and
build a new one. In your career, what's your feel big moment engineer?
I think kasi parang ano siya eh. It evolves eh. So, parang like, nung nag-start ako, nung ako pa lang, syempre, feel big moment ko nun is yung first time ko makakuha ng malaking project.
Yes.
Right? And then, after some time, naging feel big moment ko was, nakapag-hire na ako ng engineers, ganyan. So, it evolves, especially na parang ako wala naman akong background or parang wala akong formal training on how to manage, how to run a business, no? Or like handle a lot of people. For me lang, as long as nakikita ko na the company is growing, I'm here to celebrate every milestone na ma-reach namin. For now, like for example, this podcast, first time kong makapag-podcast. For me, that's a feel big moment for me. I don't know what else, kung ano pang darating. But yeah, whatever comes, syempre, I'll be happy. I'll be proud of how far we've come for me and my employees. Yeah. So, for now, hindi ko pa siya masabi. But I've had a few. And hopefully, many more to come.
Thanks for joining us on The Phil Big Show. Phil Big is growing as a space for sharper conversations, better connections, and real opportunities across the building industry. If this conversation gave you a fresh view on the business of building places, subscribe and share it with someone in the industry. To join the community and be part of the next wave of conversations, visit philbig.com. See you in the next one.